and then Free will have to lose to Solki, which is a pretty likely scenario, right? So for sSak, this is really important for Rain because the three-way tie is no longer possible. Not so much, but he can definitely take the chances away of sSak here, his former teammate, and knock him out if he gets the win and take that extra prize money. So see if he wants to see how aggressive he's going to play this game. Like, will he cheese? Will he hide carriers again, or is he going to play like it matters? He's definitely prepared for the possibility of that three-way tie today, and of course with that loss for Light, his dreams are shattered.
Yeah, but I mean, for sSak here, let's just put this in perspective. He lost to Light, Mind, and Solki most recently, so he's been looking pretty bad in the SSL. But he's been looking pretty badass in the ASL, where he took out Jaedong, he took out Rain, and now he gets to face off against Rain once again. Last time they played in ASL, it was pretty close until Rain failed super hard at carrier control. So I think sSak kind of has his number, but we're about to find out.
That we are. We're going to go into game number 2, guys. Right now, this match matters everything for sSak. Even if he wins it, he's not necessarily going to playoffs, but he needs to win this match. Let's go into it. Game number 2.
For a sponsor plug. Where is it? Are we just not plugging it in here? Huh? All right, I should have never doubted us. In the bottom left-hand corner, in the teal, or actually that's yellow. Okay, I forget that there's always teal, but now we're gonna swap so it's brown. Okay. There's like 4 colors on that Nexus. How am I supposed to tell what color it is? I can just look at the mini-map. All right, that was Rain. This is the blue Terran player sSak. And we are spawning onto the map Blue Storm, which I haven't actually seen in quite a while. Yeah, it's been a while since we've had Blue Storm here in the SSL Classic, but we'll see. The cool thing about this map is, it's for Terran anyways, is the choke points at the openings of the bases, because if Terran gets a good sieged up position, the Protoss kind of gets ripped to pieces. So that's something that we saw early on in SSL Classic, and we did see this match in the this matchup. Forgot who played it, but it was very early on in the season. I think it was actually Mind and Rain. Oh no, Rain's gonna go for a gas steal here.
He's looking for it.
You have to send out one of your first probes to make this happen, and if you do get it, it forces the Terran player into a terrible...
See if he can stop this. He doesn't see it in time. That's the end of it.
Okay, so this is really, really bad for a Terran player, because for Protoss, you know, your buildings build on their own, and Terran players like to go mech versus Protoss because it's just such a good matchup, very cost efficient, very difficult for the Protoss to deal with without very high-tech strategies like Arbiters, like, you know, Speed Zealots and things like that. So this prevents a lot of things from happening. You can't build factories without gas, so you're just never going to be able to even tech up past your barracks, and barracks units traditionally just don't do that well against Protoss.
Yeah, he's basically just saying, like, all right, good luck. Imagine if you took a, you know, it's like the same concept of taking a gas against Protoss in PvP, you know, and sorry, if you're a StarCraft 2 person, right? Like, you need gas to make everything that Protoss makes in that matchup, and in this matchup you need gas to make everything that Terran makes that's not the first 4 Marines that defend the CC. And so, I mean, this is going to be pretty nasty. We'll see if he adds a second barracks here. I mean, this is just such an unusual scenario, because usually you don't get this lucky to get away with this, to get a probe over in time. He wants it. No repair, so...
Yeah, there you go. All right, he gets the kill. So for probes, they have a little bit teeny tiny faster acceleration than a lot of workers. So if you run them diagonally enough, a lot of times you can catch up and get that final kill. A little bit sloppy control there by sSak. He is in a bad way.
So there's 2 different ways for the Protoss to approach this situation now that there's no gas. One, of course, is to be hyper aggressive, add several gateways, because there's no vultures defending against your zealots, for example, no siege tanks to stop your dragoons. So the Terran's in such a bad way, so you can be hyper aggressive. The other way is to play insanely defensive and like double expand, things like this, because the Terran will never be able to beat your gateway units, even if you have a small amount of them with just bio. So Let's see how Rain decides to play this. For now, he's of course going to add his Nexus, but we'll see if he decides to add some extra gateways.
And this is really interesting. So what could happen right now, there's a strategy, there's a reaction to a gas steal where you actually throw down 2 more barracks and go for a heavy bio pressure. And Protoss will just not be ready in time. You can, if you do go for, I forget if you get stim, I'm guessing you do, you can just run over the Protoss because you won't see it coming.
There are definitely some variations where you do get stim. I mean, we've seen crazy stuff, like I've seen fire bat drops, I've seen all sorts of weird bio pushes when this situation happens. But if he wants to do it, I think he's going to do it without stim. Looks like he just plans on transitioning to factory, taking the CC, dropping the bunker now. And the second Zealot was committed to before Dragoon, but he's still just not going to commit with it. So he just wants to send that home. And wants to clear out this SCV with it. Not even going to attack with that Zealot now. May try to run by to get some more scouting information. Nope, just going to block the ramp instead.
Yeah,
or sorry, the choke point.
Well, it prevents any scouting SCVs from coming out. So that's a good facet of being able to block the tiny choke points. And you do need to have vision of minerals in order to run your workers through other units, so that's not going to be able to happen. You need to move the Zealot. There we go. So for the time being, things will equalize a little bit, but somehow, some way, the probe does make it in.
Yep, and this is huge because all those weird possibilities, all those different bio counterattacks you can do in your gas is stolen, all those moves that we're not going to see, Rain no longer has to worry about the possibility of because he's been able to sneak in there. So
exactly.
And he's taken out to a quick robo facility here. Looks like Rain just wants to play this game as if he's just slightly ahead. He's not going to take any massive risk here. And the skipping of the Dragoon range is kind of indicative that we're going to see Reavers because he wants to save that gas for the robotic support bay. Otherwise, he'd be researching it by now because there's nothing else he would save the gas for. So, okay, he starts it now, so never mind. I suppose just maybe a little bit late on clicking that.
Yeah.
Because he didn't make any Dragoons earlier, so he definitely had enough gas for that earlier.
Yeah, so he denied the scout, so SSak will not know what's going on there with the cybernetics core. He's going to look to set up probably a third base coming up here. This is kind of interesting. Anytime you go for an early gas steal, you can use it to cripple your opponent and then come in with a timing attack later, and a lot of Protoss players do that. But it looks like right now, Rain is just trying to deny as much scouting, as much information as possible, and tech up and play it safe.
Yeah, he's just going to play this super safe. The SCV is going to get in this time, so nothing happening. So the probe is actually sneaking around the outside of the map, by the way. So he sees us, oh, okay, observatory, everything's normal. Probe sneaking around the outside, planting pylons to spot potential drops and anything being hidden from the Terran. Just making pylons, just having extra vision.
Yeah, this is kind of strange. Usually, as a Protoss player, you would not necessarily expect drops to be the strategy that Terran would go for. Star
so ahead. This is how Rain normally plays, right? We talked about how Rain is the macro player. He's the late game player. In StarCraft 1 and in StarCraft 2, that was the way of Rain. That's why it's so unusual to see him do some of the aggressive plays he did in this tournament, like the proxy gateway, even the gas steal here, and the hidden carrier tech. And this game is just playing insanely safe, insanely passive. All these spotting pylons around the map to spot, sneaky run-bys of vultures, or, potentially the drops, which is, again, like something that we're not really going to see. And it's not like he's like, oh, thank God he had those pylons there in case a drop comes. But it's going to be important minutes from now, right? 5 minutes from now when we do see vulture drops flying around the map. He's going to have a lot of extra awareness of that. And you don't normally have this much map control to be able to run a probe around the map and drop pylons in normal situations. But in this case, because he's so massively ahead, because of the gas deal, he's able to do so. And these vultures killing it, yeah, it's annoying. He's going to lose the pylon that's going to, perhaps supply block him. That's 100 minerals down. But it means these vultures are not doing anything else.
Exactly. And sometimes, even if you don't see drops with these pylons, that's still good information that you'll be able to use because you know that you just don't have to worry about that coming your way. And like you said, it's occupying vulture time, really a lot of value out of that. And it's only 100 minerals. You're not going to really have to worry about that.
And you're also aware of where the vultures are. Tight wall here, the vulture's not sneaking by. They thought they did. Oh, SSak saw it, man. He looked so pissed. He's mad.
He does look mad.
He will, of course, just clear this, but this gives time for the Dragoons to come over, so the vultures have to leave. Can't even break through. He's so frustrated right now. This is just been Rain toying with him all game long, it feels like.
Yeah, and that's a good way to put it. Rain has dictated the pace of every phase of this game. He's in total control. Arbiter Tribunal's on the way. His third base is just about to come up and running, and same situation for sSak, but he is, visibly much more, I guess, taxed so far in this series.
I mean, you just look at like everything he's trying to do. Like, there should never be a game where a Terran has vultures in the middle of the map just sitting there because there's nothing for them to do.
Yeah.
But that's the situation we're in. It already just seeing vultures in the middle of the map doing nothing really speaks to where we're at in this game. It speaks to the setting. And there's an observer in the main, completely unscouted, undetected, just getting more additional information. Rain's able to just rush up the Arbiters without very many gateway units because he has all this vision.
Yeah.
Now he's just going to clear these minefields, no problem.
Now, Blue Storm is a map that does very often get split in two. So we might see the game go that far, but especially if Rain is this on top of his tech, he's always just going to be that little bit ahead. And for Protoss, it's definitely a spot you want to be in against Terran, just because Terran traditionally gets a lot of value out of their mech. You see so many siege tanks here. So Protoss always wants to be a little bit ahead. That's exactly where Rain is.
Yeah, well, Rain is going to look to eventually do some mass recalls in the main base. Right now, we're not quite there yet, as his first Arbiters are being made. But the Terran cannot be broken, and when you look at those siege tanks, it's like, oh man, he's so far behind, but he still has so many tanks. How can Rain ever defeat that? The point is that he won't. He doesn't have to. He will just take the rest of the map, and it's important for that split map to occur here for sSak. The split map you're talking about, that's the way he kind of fights back into this late game, gets good medic upgrades. But if Rain just continues to harass and pressure him and never allows him to take another CC, he'll be kind of stuck on 3 bases for a while. And that's not terrible for Terran, but it's definitely a situation the longer the game goes on, it's going to be frustrating. And the sSak looks really angry.
Yeah, going up to 6 factories in the main. Doesn't look like he's going to be putting up a 4th base anytime soon. And this is about the time, maybe 3 or 4 minutes from now, where the last time these guys faced off, Rain went for a very peculiar carrier switch. He got read totally hard. sSak had just enough Goliaths, popped his carriers, took him out of the game. So hopefully he's learned from that and is just going to stick on a very standard Gateway Arbiter Protoss force, because I think he's going to be doing a really great job with that. He's already started taking the riskiest base in the game for him right next to sSak's natural expansion.
Yeah, I mean, this is hyper greedy from Rain, but, you know, in that game you mentioned, it was a much closer match between the two, whereas in this game you could just see how massively ahead Rain is just by looking at the minimap. Like, if you take a screenshot, freeze us, look at the minimap, anyone who's a Brood War fan will be like, oh god, I wonder what went wrong for sSak, because the process is not pressured in any way. We're going to see a first mass recall attempt. The Arbiter sneaking around the bottom side of the map. You know, this base over here, it's greedy, but there's just, if sSak ever moves out to take it, or to deny it, I should say, he's going to have a lot of trouble. Zealots even killing vultures here.
Well, and every mineral you mine from that base is a mineral that you take away from sSak, because that's, you know, quote unquote his base, or it should be if he does eventually wind up expanding there. Vultures continuing to try to run by. These will be a little bit more effective, but eventually will get taken out. That is a great cannon to see in these mineral lines. I love it.
We are at 12 minutes into the game, and those are the first 2 probes that died for Rain. First 2, no other vultures able to find anything. Okay, spider mines are weird. But he's waiting actually with that Arbiter at the bottom right. I think it's going to be soon it will have enough energy to do the mass recall. Upgrade's actually a little bit late here for Rain. He only has the +1. The tanks already have +1. And he has 3 armories, so that was perhaps a mistake to make the 3 armories, but he has 3, so he's going to have the attack soon because he's been really focused on it. In fact, I already saw it spinning, so it's going to be a lead in upgrades for the Terran coming forward. Arbiter is just chilling. So, I mean, obviously the crux of this Arbiter is when it comes in, and he wants to wait until the Terran is really overextended out onto the map with the majority of his siege tanks. Once again, not finding much here. Looks like he'll get 1 probe.
really cool to see how respectful Rain is being defending all of his bases. With cannons having forces where he needs them to be, sSak's aggression has just been totally stifled here. Just shut down from minute one. Almost literally minute one with that gas steal. And now we actually even have Stargates pumping out more and more Arbiters. This one has been sitting down there the entire game, building up that energy. Just now looks to be coming in for a recall.
He waits for the Terran to move out, then he comes in.
He's actually even going to run past the third base all the way into the main, right on top of all of these depots.
Oh, if this is a Zealot heavy force too, this is going to be massive. Let's see. Okay, so it's got Ultra Dragoon.
Oh my god!
This is a huge recall. He also gets the observers here too, so the observers can help detect any spider mines that come up. Now we can hit this base while the Terran army has forced to retreat. The Terran army is just so immobile here.
The scans are also going to be kind of limited as well. One scan does go off. The second one actually just now expiring. There's nothing there to detect those units. The Terran army can't really shoot at a whole lot of it. There's a third scan now being used, just hemorrhaging all of that energy, and there's still forces left alive in the main right as this third base is about to get hit.
Imagine a drop of a ton of hyper-powered DTs. That's basically what we're seeing here. This base going to be denied mining. This may just be it. This may be game over as sSak is forced to split between so many locations. He just doesn't have the resources to do it, and he's not set up in position to do it either. Like finally those will get cleaned in the main base, but this base is going to get taken out. It's not even moving the CC. It's going to be knocked out of the sky as the Zealots actually continue to attack these unsieged tanks.
Yeah, all the tanks unsieged. He might even stasis most
of them. He does. That's
six,
it, man.
Yeah, 6 tanks completely unusable. Fourth base shut down.
These tanks are walking right into the slaughter too. Looks like they'll clean up some of the Dragoons, but this base that's the top was never ever contested even. It looks like he wants to go for another recall with that group of units stacked up on top of itself there. And there's nothing to deny an Arbiter from even coming into the main base with those turrets destroyed.
Man, it does not look good for sSak. He's pressed back into his own main base. He's defending his natural. He's running out of minerals and SCVs simultaneously. Several of them getting picked off from that recall. And now here comes the actual push. This is what is designed to really not necessarily be a killing blow, but the blow that just makes sSak so crippled that he's just unable to really ever deal with Rain this game.
This is to cut off the head, and maybe the game goes on a little bit longer, but if this push it does the damage it's designed to, the game may just simply end right afterwards. It's going to be almost impossible for sSak to recover. Rain's not actually going for another recall, it looks like. Just wants to control this zone by ground. And I think he wants to move this CC away once again, because the army is positioned behind the CC, but it's not protecting the CC. So he can actually kill the CC or force it to lift once again.
Yeah, Rain's going to go for a double prong attack. He's got 1,000,000 Zealots running into the natural. At the same time, he's attacking the third. Lots of great stasi on the bottom. Storm's hitting everything, and impeccable control as now these Zealots are going to get all on top of the siege tanks.
Yeah, this is going to be the end of this game and the end of sSak's chances to go to playoffs. Nothing you can do now as these Zealots are just going to wipe even Vultures now clean. And this game is basically the perfect representation of when ahead, get further ahead, as Rain just took every possible precaution after taking that gas steal and just controlled every piece of this game. Every chunk of the map was controlled by those pylons. He had the wall off set up for the Vultures, the photon cannons, and then eventually just had an army to mass recall to the main base and the follow-up counterattacks sSak just can't deal with.
And just look at the vision that Rain has. He has vision of every base on the map. He's mining from every base that sSak does not have, which includes, except for the bottom right-hand base, but he has vision there.
I think he's got a probe down there waiting to make a nexus.
I mean, he might as well. There's no way that sSak's going to be able to push out far enough to deal with that. He has Vultures trying to get around the map and plant mines, but those fields are just going to get instantly cleared.
The Observer's showing that not even every factory can produce for sSak. He just doesn't have the money. He wants to wait for siege tanks. He's been making pure vultures, but he wants to like save up for siege tanks, the ones he can't afford. His army is mostly vultures now. Stasis coming down. There's almost more arbiters here than siege tanks that are in siege mode, it feels like.
3 Stasi, just take, that's the plural, right? Stasis is
yeah, I think it's Stasi. I think you're correct.
All right, well, it's going to take out most of SSak's army before it even gets a chance to fight. There's a science vessel here for detection.
This isn't even all of Rain's army. This isn't even his final form. This is just a small chunk of it. The rest of it's going to go clean up the natural. There's units in the main base still. he's just drilling into him with everything he's got, and then his 12 plus gateways at home, and just continue to produce. So yeah, I misplaced this pylon. I guess I'll have to kill it with a photon cannon. I think that's actually what's going on. I think he literally misplaced that pylon, so he can't make the nexus there. Either that or it was intentional to make sure that SSak couldn't place a command.
I think that was the original plan, but then it kind of backfired because he never thought that he would be in a position to take a nexus there, and now he's like, oh. Well, maybe he just builds it a little bit off-center because who cares?
By the way, he's going to have to kill it with a photon cannon, and then he'll be able to make the nexus. Then he'll repower the photon cannon for its civil service.
He's going to kill the pylon.
Let's watch, please. Oh, I want to watch it. Oh, okay, we're going to see in the late game carrier transition now with the 2nd cybernetics core for double air upgrades.
Oh my
Triple
God.
cyber core even.
I think if we check down there, please observer, show us the bottom right-hand base.
Show us. I want to see it.
If you guys are watching, watch the pixels at the bottom right-hand base.
Yeah, we're watching it. I want to know. I want to see that cannon go to work. Okay.
Meanwhile,
you may actually just kill him before we get to see those flashy carriers. Here we go. Stasi again on everything, even the vultures and the Goliaths. Nothing they can do.
Look at that.
He wants to get. I'm pretty sure those targets for arbiters, man. He wants to get the upgrades for the arbiters to finish the game because he's got so many arbiters, more arbiters than siege tanks.
Hey, look at this. There's more zealots than there are anything else in the game right now. More arbiters than there are tanks, and even all of these units that have been stasis will just die instantly as soon as they come back.
He never killed the pile on the bottom right. Sad. GG. SSak is out.
Wow.
That is it.
Yep. Rain gets his final revenge. Able to eliminate SSak from playoff contention, and that's actually really, really crucial because in our first game, Rain was eliminated from being able to go to the playoffs, and so this time he gets his revenge. He gets the 400,000 won instead of just the 100 that SSak will take. It's gonna be a sad day for the Terran player.
That's right. Sulky and Free, they still have their spots up for contention, but we will see if that comes true in our next game. It's rough for SSak, man. He had a tough season. I think he had a great start, but unfortunately, due to personal reasons, they lost that last game. Didn't even get to play it last week, and I think that really affected his chance to go into playoffs because now it came down to this one game and other scenarios as well, but he had to win this game. He lost it there, and, it's a horrible, horrible feeling. Even the concept of this is to imagine a player who's looked so good, had such a clutch match against Rain last time in the ASL, and he dies to a gas steal and then just perfect defensive play coming out from Rain. The most frustrating thing to play at is every time his vultures came, there was an answer, and you could see him get physically shaken in the booth whenever his vultures encountered the photon cannons that are set up, the 3 pylon wall. You could tell him just like, I can't do anything to you. The vultures are sitting in the middle of the map just doing nothing.
Feels bad, man.
Feels bad, man, indeed.
I feel like there's a delayed Zerg poison. And this is what you get for eliminating Jaedong from the ASL. Everybody was a little bit sad when that happened, and now truly it's coming to fruition. But Rain, I think, getting his revenge is the real story here. And so now neither Rain nor SSak will be advancing. That means that our final 4 players for the playoffs will be Free, Mind, Effort, and Sulky. So those will be our 4 players. We'll find out who places in which place when we come back from our commercial break for our 3rd set of the night.
Sing our songs and we just hold on, yeah. So if you're running